Hello BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with another weekly reading vlog. Today is Saturday, December the 22nd and it is about 10 after 9 at night. So it's late. It's a late start to the vlog this week. That's atypical for me on a Saturday. Yeah, it was a busier day. Got up this morning and I started editing the vlog. I actually slept in a bit this morning, which was quite nice. So I started editing the vlog because I hadn't done any of that during the week. And I always tell myself when I'm doing it, I'm like, I really got to try and edit during the week, and it never happens. But anyway, I started doing that, and then I was talking to Garrett, because originally we were just going to have a nice lazy day. And I just kept thinking, we do have to do a little bit of grocery shopping. And I just kept thinking the closer we push it, like if we went tomorrow or whatever, it's just going to get busier because of Christmas, on Tuesday. So I said, listen, let's just go and get it done. We don't really need a lot. But we'll go and get the groceries done and then we could come home and relax. So we went and did our grocery shopping. I got the presents for my niece and nephew. I got them some books and a couple of clothing items each. I got Jonathan this cute little outfit of this like t-shirt with a dinosaur on the front and pants. And then I got my niece a couple like printed t-shirts, like graphic t-shirts and stuff like that. One has some saying about be yourself. And then the other one has Wonder Woman and Superwoman, like the DC, but like the more comic looking characters. Really cute. She loves, Marvel and DC and all the comic book stuff. Like my brother's a big comic book guy, so Katie's been around it like her whole life and she loves it. So that's great. Her and Daddy always go and see the new superhero movies together. So anyway, yeah, we did all that and then I came home and I finished editing the vlog. Got it posted. Didn't take as long as it normally has, which is good. It's a little bit shorter than normal, but still not quite. I've come to this is what it is. I like to sit and chat with you guys, and it is what it is. You guys don't seem to mind, so that's great. So I got a lot of reading done today. I noticed when I was editing last week's vlog that I only finished 4 books. I couldn't, it's funny, until I go back and rewatch them as I'm editing them that I remember how many books I've actually finished in a given week. And not only do I like doing the vlogs for you guys, of course, to watch and stuff like that, but they're great for me too as kind of like a video diary, essentially, of my reading, and it's a lot of fun. So I knew as soon as I ended that, like finished editing the video and went, okay, I finished 4 books last week. This week is going to be a big reading week. That's typically the way it goes. If I have a shorter week, it means I have a better week the next week because typically I end up finishing a bunch of stuff on the Saturday, like on the first day of a new vlog. And that was the case today. And I finished 3 books today, you guys. So I will talk about that in just a minute. But let me show you my advent calendar for the day. And I will also show you my knitting. I got knitting done, but I didn't, it still doesn't seem like a lot because most nights last week when I got home, I was pretty tired. I was, reading, relaxing and stuff like that and trying to catch up on BookTube and stuff. So, yeah. So anyway, advent calendars. So we'll start with the David's Tea. Like I say, today was the 22nd. The 22nd. So let's see here. Sadly, I know what the 23rd and 24th is. They are going to be exactly the same thing, but we'll get into that tomorrow because I did have one missing from my David's Tea calendars if you're new. One of the teas that I was supposed to have I didn't have. They gave me a duplicate of something else and the rest of the ones were all messed up, like they weren't on the correct dates. And because these are mass produced, everybody's should be the same. And I've talked to one of my viewers, Alana. She said hers, she was missing one too. So obviously there was an issue. So yeah. So anyway, 22nd of December. So I'm a little disappointed in it because I really do look forward to this every year. So today's is Sleigh Ride. This is a nice one. This is a fruit infusion as well. So Sleigh Ride. Is this a duplicate? Did I get this one already? Why does it sound like it's a duplicate? Bear with me just a second here, you guys. No, it's not. I'm just familiar with it. Sweet, tart, and spicy. So it is apples, hibiscus blossoms, pineapple, papaya, beetroot, cinnamon, raisins, coconut, roasted almonds, popped rice, and natural and artificial flavors. Now, I'm not a fan of the popped rice. I've had that in another tea before, but I know I've had this one before and I don't mind it. So, so yeah, so we will have that later tonight. Because I believe, is it a decaf? Sweet, tart, and spicy. It is a herbal. So yeah, so it would be a decaf. So that's good. And then we will open my yarn advent calendar. Again, if you are new, so I have the 2 advent calendars. This one I did not buy. This one I put together myself. It is the David's Tea calendar from last year. I just reused the packaging. And I have a blanket I'll show you guys because I'll show you the 2 squares from the last couple days. That I'm doing a mini skein blanket, a sock yarn blanket, and every day I add in from the 1st to the 24th, I'm putting a new square in my blanket. And I collect the minis throughout the year. Like, I have a ton of minis, so I'm putting them in throughout the year. But in December, I do try and put 1 a day in for Advent. So, let's get to the 22nd. Oh, there's only 2 more after this. It's so sad. It's almost over. So the 22nd. And this one is, ooh, I believe this is also an unknown to me. I think I got this from one of my friends. I think this is another Brandy yarn. So really pretty for my friend Brandy. So yeah. So that'll be lovely in the blanket. A lot of purple made it into this section. Not only yarns from Brandy because it's her favorite color, so she has a lot of them. But also, I had some purples from a shawl that I knit earlier this year. So yeah, so that'll be lovely. So anyway, so that is my Advent. So now I will show you guys my knitting as per usual of what I've knit on this week. I have 2 things that need to get done in the next 2 days. And I'm not as far in them as I'd like to be, but I have lots of time now. So I'm going out tomorrow morning with my mom as per usual on a Sunday morning. And then I have the rest of the day with nothing to do because we did all of our running around today. And on Boxing Day, on Christmas Eve, I don't have anything else to do either. So I can definitely get the one thing, my socks. I want these done because I want to wear them on Christmas Day. That's the point. Like, I'm knitting a Christmas sock so I can have them done to wear on Christmas Day. And wear all year round after that too. But specifically to wear on Christmas Day. So, these are, as I'm calling them, my Tannenbaum socks. And the yarn is called Tannenbaum, and it is from Beach Bum Fibers, and they're on Etsy. So there's where I was. There's where I was last Saturday when I showed you guys, and this is what I've gotten done. Put the heel in, so I'm on the leg. I'm at 2.5 inches into the leg, and I go to 6 inches and then do an inch of ribbing. So I still have 4.5 inches to go. That's not bad. Like, I knit the heel and this much just this morning. So while I was editing the vlog, so that should be no problem. Well, I knit half a heel because I already had the first half done, and so that should be relatively easy. I should definitely get that done on Monday. So I do promise that when I get this done, I will not wait till next Saturday to show you guys the finished item. I will show you guys like on Monday when I finish these, so just so you can see them. The pattern is called Atlantic Current. And it is a paid-for pattern on Ravelry. It's a series of slip stitches, as you can see. I have not mentioned this before, but I did actually modify the pattern ever so slightly to change it because I do a smaller stitch count. The pattern gives you 3 different stitch counts, depending on your size of foot, like 64 stitches or whatever. But I actually do a 56 stitch count on a US 1 needle, a US size 1 needle. I don't know what that is in millimeters. Even though I am Canadian, I don't do millimeters for my needle sizes. It might be written on here, but I don't know what it is. But I use a US 1, and I could go down to a 0 and do a 64, but the zeros I find are too tiny. So these are my preferred. They're comfy for me, and this is what fits my foot. I have very narrow feet, so that works for me. But yeah, so I did have to modify the stitch count, like the stitch pattern. It's the same pattern, I just manipulated the numbers, essentially, to make it work. So if any of you are interested, you know what, I really can't even give it to you because it's a paid-for pattern. Like, if you had the pattern, I could probably tell you, but I don't want, you know, the designer went to a lot of trouble to do the pattern, so I don't want to give away. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, so yeah, so there it is. Because it's a relatively easy pattern, to be completely honest. So yeah, so that lives in my Fat Squirrel Fibers bag that I love, the Christmas bag. Amy Beth at the Fat Squirrel Podcast, she's on YouTube. She's pretty awesome. I really like her. I think I mentioned last one that I've met her a couple times at Rhinebeck. She's very, very sweet. And the only other thing I really got work done on, and this is not very much, I kept meaning all week to pick this up and I never did, and I'm so disappointed in myself because now I do have a lot to do, is the mittens for my mom. So this is a Christmas gift. These have to be done by Christmas Day. So I finished the first mitt. So there's where I was last Saturday. And no, I didn't move that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I had to finish this. I had to put in the thumb. So that's what I did. So disregard this. I put in the thumb today, just today. Oh my gosh, you guys. So I did that. I'm pretty pleased with it. I kind of really love the way it looks. So I'm going to put it on and show you guys. I have to take off the rings to do it because they are a little bulky. But yeah, I have to weave in ends and all that stuff on this and obviously take that off. But yeah, so they're there. The thumb is a little bit long, if you guys can see, like there's the top of my thumb. So yeah, I went one row too much maybe, but when you pull it down, it's not so bad. Again, you know, I think it'll be okay. I'm sure it'll be okay. So yeah, like, and then this is just a little, I've never knit mittens before. And I'm modifying a pattern that was meant only to be fingerless mitts. So I think I did a pretty good job, to be completely honest, when you're kind of doing it blind and you've never done it before. So yes, I'm pretty pleased with it. The pattern is called Something Wicked, and it's by Kristen over at Wool and Vine. She also has a podcast. The Yarngasm podcast is her podcast, and she's in New York. I have not met her, but I've seen her at Rhinebeck. She's very pretty, very striking woman, like dark black hair, very pale. She's really pretty, and very, very sweet. I don't watch a lot of knitting podcasts anymore, but she was one that I used to watch. So anyway, she designed this pattern. It is a gorgeous cable pattern. So yeah, so that is the first mitt done, and I just finished it today. So crunch time, you guys. I have to finish the second mitt in 2 days. Now, I've already done the ribbing. I'm almost done the ribbing. I've got one more row to do on the bottom, and then I can start the pattern. To be completely honest, this pattern, it looks difficult, but it's really not that hard. I should be able to fly through this, I'm hoping, over the next few days. And then this part and then the thumb are no time at all. So yeah, so I'm confident I can get these done in time. Because this will be the main thing I'm going to be working on. I'm not allowing myself, well, except for the sock and my blanket. Those are the only 3 things I'm going to work on over the next few days. I showed you last week, if you watched, that I had that shawl that I started. I have not picked it up at all this week. Once I'm done the socks, when I'm done the socks, I'm not casting on any more socks until New Year's Eve. My friends and I tend to do a group chat, like a video chat, on New Year's Eve, and we all kind of cast on socks or something like that together to kind of start the new year. It's been tradition for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's a lot of fun. So we're going to do that and cast on new socks. So I won't be casting on any new socks until then, once I get the Tannenbaum ones done. And then once this is done, then I'm going to allow myself to pick back up that shawl because I am now 2 or 3 clues behind. I am off until Thursday. I go to work on Thursday for 6 hours. We're skeleton staff, Thursday, Friday. So I go to work Thursday, Friday. I offered to go in because A, I could use the extra money because it is overtime pay. And B, I figured because I was off for like most of November on sick leave, I thought that, maybe, show some company support and go in and help out. Allow some other people to maybe take the time off. And yeah, so I'm going to do that. And then I am off again this next Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm back to work on Wednesday on the 2nd of January. So lots of time to work on that. I have a couple other projects. I have a sweater. I have a cowl I've been working on, but I really want to do this shawl and I really want to get it done because it is a mystery knit along. So I'll talk more about that in my next vlog because hopefully I'll have some great work done on it. After Monday, I will be able to work on nothing but that. Except for, well, and no, not even the blanket because I will have put my 24 squares in. And I think I'm going to give it a break and just work on it maybe on the weekends again like I used to. So I'll show you guys the most recent squares I've put in because I didn't show you yesterday's or this would have been Thursday, Fridays because obviously this is Saturdays. I haven't put it in yet. So this is Thursdays and this one is called, the yarn is called Bad Romeo. Oh, I forgot the sock. Oh, I will put a picture up here. So quick explanation again if you didn't see my last vlog. There's an indie dyer by the name of Desert Vista Dye Works. She is absolutely amazing. She does some of the best self-striping yarn I've ever seen. And every year she runs a club, or like we'll call it a club for sake of argument. And she picks a theme. So for the whole year, she runs with that theme. And a couple years ago, the theme was books. And every month, she had a different category. Well, of course, in February, the category was romance novels. So she posted on her group message board, and she's like, I want to see covers of romance novels. So people posted, you could post so many or whatever. And she picked, like, let's say 4 of them. And then she dyed them into yarn that was sold exclusively for that month. But then she brought them back years later, like she would do a like back from the vault kind of an idea. And I posted this book cover, and it's Bad Romeo by Lisa Raven, which is a YA novel. At the time I posted the cover, I hadn't read it yet. I have since read it. It was not bad. I enjoyed it actually. The second book, Broken Juliet, I really didn't like. But regardless, that is the yarn. Because she picked my book, I got the skein of yarn for free. So that was pretty awesome. So that's it. Again, it's self-striping, so you're missing some of the color. There is another pink, bright pink stripe that should be in this as well. So you get the red, the blue, the purple, which you're just kind of seeing the tip of, and then there's a bright fluorescent pink. So that's how they striped, and that's my Bad Romeo socks, and I'm just super pleased with them. And then this one is 100 Ravens yarn, and it was dyed by my friend Jessica, so I'm calling it one of a kind Jessica colorway. She dyed this for me as a gift, and this went into a shawl that I have. So yeah, so those are my last 2 squares, and then this one will go in as well. So that's it for the knitting, you guys. 20 minutes into this already. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about some books, because that's why you guys are here. So the books that like I said, I finished 3 books today. So the first book that I finished, wait for it if you guys have been watching me for a while, I finished A Mountain Man for Christmas. Yay! I did not realize until I was updating my Goodreads that I started that on the 28th of November. 118-page book should not have taken me a month to read. I had like 4 chapters plus the epilogue left, and I was sitting down eating my lunch this afternoon, and I'm like, I'm just gonna finish it, and I did. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. The premise of this book is about a woman who has recently lost her mother. This is available on Kindle Unlimited. I actually bought it because I didn't have Kindle Unlimited yet, and I got it shortly after I bought the book, but the book was like less than $2, so absolutely worth it. But if you have Kindle Unlimited, obviously check it out on there. And she recently lost her mother, and she's a food vlogger and blogger. So she has like a YouTube channel, it sounds like, and you know, she's very into the social media, and she kind of does like baking and cooking and all these different things. And she decides to rent a cabin in the woods for in the mountains for Christmas to kind of, you know, let herself heal from just losing her mom. Well, of course, she runs into the guy who owns the cabins, runs into him, and of course, they start a relationship. And this guy has a younger daughter, not younger, the daughter's, I think, 12. Her name's Kimber. And, you know, kind of navigating around this new relationship, and then also having his daughter for Christmas and stuff like that. This book can get very spicy. There are some very adult scenes in this book, so keep that in mind. And, oh, sorry, I don't think I mentioned the author's name. It's Deja Voss. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cute, really sweet story. To be completely honest, could have done without the adult content. Not that I didn't like it. It wasn't not like it wasn't well written, because it was. But it just, the story was so cute and so sweet that it's kind of like when they got to those scenes, I was like, yeah, okay, flip the page. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't care. I didn't want to read it. You know what I mean? It is a bit of an insta-love kind of thing, because, you know, it happens over the course of about a week or 2 weeks. But again, really cute, very festive, very much the holidays. And of course, because it's a shorter novella, things wrap up relatively quickly, like the misunderstanding that always happens in a romance novel, gets fixed really quickly, but it was still really cute, and I really enjoyed it. The second book that I finished today was Come Toy With Me by Cara Summers. This is a Harlequin Blaze novel. It's a standalone. All the books that I finished today were standalone novels. They weren't part of series. And this one I'm giving 4 stars to as well. This was a reread for me. I read it years ago, and I gave it 4 stars back then too, I'm pretty sure. I really enjoyed this one. So it's about a woman who owns a toy shop called the Cheshire Cat, and her nickname is Cat. And she's always, ever since she was a little girl, she wanted to run a toy shop. But it's not your typical toy shop, that stuff you could buy in Toys R Us. These are like special toys, exclusive toys. She finds stuff from all over the world. And there's something nefarious going on at her shop. There's shipments of dolls coming in that are being made by these women in Mexico, like very special handcrafted dolls, and they are being used to smuggling cocaine. And her father is something in the army. I want to say he's an admiral. Maybe that's the Navy. I really don't know. I'm sorry. Um, but he knows that there's something going on. So he hires this guy, like this guy who works under him, to pose as her fiance. And she knows about it, so she's kind of going along with this, but she doesn't know about the drug smuggling. She she thinks that he's being set up as her fiance, to make her grandmother happy because there's some big Christmas ball that's going to happen, and this kind of thing. So there's a lot of kind of like lying and white lying and stuff like that that's going on, but it's still a really fun story. Again, very spicy. It's a Blaze novel. These tend to go that direction, but I still really like the Christmas premise. It's New York City, so it's Christmas in New York. It revolves around a toy shop. Super adorable. I really, really liked it. It's an older book. I think it's from 2008. So I got it for the Kindle. Like, you can get it as an ebook if you're interested. So I absolutely, if you like those books, definitely go ahead and check it out. And the third book and the last book that I finished today was my favorite. I finished One Day in December by Josie Silver. This book I gave 5 stars to, guys. It was so, so good. It was such an awesome premise for a contemporary romance novel. So the premise of the story, if you're unfamiliar, is about a woman who, it starts out in 2008. She is on a bus coming home from her work Christmas party, and the bus stops at like a bus stop, and she glances out the window and she sees this guy standing there. And they kind of lock eyes, and it's that instant attraction, instantaneous bolt of lightning kind of moment. And he hesitates and he sees her, so it's, between the two of them, it's not just her seeing him. And he goes to kind of get on the bus, and then the bus leaves. So she spends the next year looking for, as she calls him, the bus boy. And, she's looking everywhere, can't find him, cafes, bars, again, at every bus stop she goes past. And then she finally finds him and meets him, and it's at a Christmas party that she's hosting, and he is her best friend's new boyfriend. And then the story goes from there. And it follows 10 years in their lives, between our main character, Lori. Jack is the guy, the busboy, and Sarah is the best friend, and how their lives intertwine, how they come in and out of each other's lives, all these huge events that happen. I think when the book starts, she's only 23, so it goes to when she's in her early 30s. I don't want to give any more than that away. I don't want to talk about any more than that, because other than knowing that very simple premise of her seeing him and then them meeting a year later, that's all I knew about it going in, and that's all I really want to tell you guys, because it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And the ending, I will admit, was absolutely cheesy in a way. For those of you who have read it, it was very much a Hollywood movie rom-com kind of ending. This wasn't a romantic comedy. That's not what I'm saying. But it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. If you like a good Christmas contemporary romance novel, definitely check this one out. I read this, I listened to it on audio through Scribd, but I am actually, after the holidays, I do plan on actually buying a physical copy, for myself once we get some money. Once my husband starts working again and we have a little bit of extra money, I want to buy a copy because I want a copy on my shelves because I loved it that much. And I want a UK copy. So I'm going to be ordering it from Book Depository because I love the UK cover. I think it's just beautiful. But anyway, yeah. So absolutely recommend that one if you can get your hands on it. So anyway, that is it for today. I have not started a new ebook or a new audiobook or anything like that. I'm going to sit down and do some knitting. I'm going to watch another episode of CSI and then some BookTube. And then I'm heading off to bed. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Until then, take care. Why do I always do this like I'm signing off? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hi guys, it is Sunday, December the 23rd, and it is 11:15 p.m. Yes, it is that late. I almost forgot to give you guys an update today. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I've had a not really a completely busy day. I was out with my mom all morning today, and then I got home this afternoon, and I did some editing on some of the videos that I have going up later this week. I had a little nap because I was tired. I still do have a headache. And then I got sitting down and knitting. I am almost done my mom's mittens. All I have to do is finish this part here and the thumb and I'm done. So that's like an hour's worth of work tomorrow. So I'm super duper pleased. And I only have 2 inches left to do on my sock. So both of those I will be able to show you guys tomorrow because like you guys know, I typically show you guys like my knitting at the beginning of my vlogs. But I thought because I wanted both of them done for Christmas, I would show you guys ahead of time. So yeah. So like I said, it's the 23rd. Shall we open my advent calendars? Yes, because I haven't even done that yet. And the day's almost over. So excuse me, I have to reach. Sorry about that, guys. So unfortunately, I think I mentioned this yesterday. I do know exactly what is in the David's tea because I did get a duplicate. And the duplicate I got is the same one that's on the 24th. So today's and tomorrow's tea is going to be the same, but that's okay because it is one of my absolute favorites. I'm disappointed I didn't get the red velvet, but I'm okay with having a dupe of this. That if I had to get a duplicate, I'm happy it was this one. So the 23rd is right here. Eep, if I can even get it out. Thanks. So the 23rd of December. And today's tea is, of course, Santa's Secret, which is one of my favorites. If you guys have not had this one, you need to try it. It is, let me get to the back and read it for you. So I won't go through all this whole kit and caboodle tomorrow because it will be the same. It's a festive peppermint tea. And the ingredients are black tea, peppermint sprinkles. So these little, I don't know if you guys are probably not going to be able to see them, but if you can see the little red dots, those are little mini candy canes. Candy cane candies. Sprinkles. Yeah. So it's black tea, peppermint, and these little candy sprinkles. It is amazing. One of my favorites. Unfortunately, it's the same one tomorrow. Well, fortunately, it's the same one tomorrow, but you guys know what I mean. So today's yarn, the 23rd, I'm going to have to put this in tomorrow, is, 23rd, is, ooh, oh, this is mine. This is one that I knit socks out of. This is the CS dye yarn, and this was the Halloween one that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me right now. I will have to look at my project page on Ravelry. I was just talking to my friends. That's why I'm so late, is that I was doing a virtual chat with some of my knitting friends, or some of my best friends, and not just knitting friends. And we were talking about how we become lax at updating stuff on Ravelry. I used to do it all the time every time I started a new knitting project, but I've just kind of fallen out the wayside of doing that. So, you know, I don't know. I'm going to have to try and get back into doing that in 2019, so we shall see. So yeah, so there is this one. I believe it might be even called Toil and Trouble. Yes, it is. It's Toil and Trouble because the socks I knit I called Toil and Trouble and Waffles. So, because I did the blueberry waffle pattern, which is a free pattern. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to putting that one in the blanket. So reading update for today. I got a bit of reading. I actually got quite a bit of reading done today. Starting off with my audiobook. I am currently listening to Carols and Chaos by Cindy Anstey. This is a YA historical mystery. And I really liked the premise of this when I read it. It's about a woman who, or I shouldn't say woman because it's YA. I think she's 19. Sorry, excuse me. She works as a lady's maid. And the gentleman, or the guy in the book, Matt, so her name is Kate, his name is Matt. He is a footman or valet? A valet, I believe, for the gentleman of the house. So, of course, both of them, like, work below the stairs, essentially. They're the servants, the house servants, so they're a little bit a higher ranking than the regular house servants, I think. Or, how does that work? Like the farm servants, I guess? I don't know. But anyway, very downtown Abbey-esque, I guess? And there's a mystery that is happening, and it's also the relationship between the two of them. So I am, sorry, I keep glancing over because my husband's got the movie Scrooged on. It is one of my favorites. The Bill Murray, I love that movie so much. Anyway, so the two of them kind of develop this relationship, but they don't work at the same house together. She works at the house, and then the people who own this estate are having people over for the holidays, and it takes place in 1817. And all these people who are coming, they, of course, are bringing their own servants and valets and footmen and stuff like that. And that's how Matt has arrived there. So they don't work at the same house. They actually work quite a distance from each other. I think they said something about it being like a day-long travel, like to get to each other's place. So it would be considered an old school long distance romance, I guess, if they kept up their relationship after, he went back after the holidays. But anyway, so there's a mystery happening. So right now, I'm not loving this, to be honest. I was so thrilled with the premise because it's so different than what I am typically used to seeing with YA, with dystopian and stuff like that, which isn't typically my cup of tea. But this one being a historical mystery sounded so much fun. And then with the romance in there too, right? But now that I'm a little over 50% of the way through it, it's picked up. The mysteries started picking up, and now I'm getting interested again. There are a lot of characters that are introduced in this. It's not part of a series, but it just seems like there's a lot of characters in this story. So yeah, but I will get it done tomorrow because it's not a terribly long audiobook, and I will definitely let you guys know my final thoughts on it. The other book that I'm currently reading, my ebook, is Betting on Santa by Deborah Solemn. I'm just under 50% of the way through it, I think. And this one's interesting. It is about a woman whose sister is in a bad car accident and she's in a coma. And her sister's kind of had a really, not difficult, but she's kind of been not knowing what she wants to do with her life over the last few years. She has a little boy, less than 2-year-old son, I think. And she kind of calls, Tessa is our main character, our female lead, and Cole is our male lead. And Sunshine, or Sunny is the sister's name. She calls her sister Tessa and she's like, listen, I'm ready to kind of tell you kind of who Joey, that's the baby, Joey's dad is and stuff like that. I'll talk to you when I get to where you are. And then she's in this horrible car accident and she's in a coma. So Tessa decides to try and hunt down whoever the father is because, Sunshine or Sunny might not survive. So, thinking that maybe this is the best course of action, this little boy to meet his dad. So anyway, she gets her sister's diary and finds like an entry talking about Cole. And she travels to Texas to this small town in Texas to go and meet him. And the story kind of goes from there. I don't want to give too much more than that away. This is a reread for me, but I will be honest. I thought it was a reread, but maybe it's not. I think I owned this book and it was on my shelf at some point, but I never did get around to reading it because I don't remember this plot line at all. And typically, I don't know about you guys, but even a book I maybe read 20 years ago, I can pick it up and if I've read it before, I'll get an inkling of it. Like, yes, I kind of sort of remember this. This isn't ringing any bells to me at all, but the cover is standing out at me. So that's why I'm thinking this might have just been a book that was on my shelf. So yeah, I don't know if I'll get it done tomorrow. I'm hoping by Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. I'm hoping by Christmas Day. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Short and sweet. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It is Monday, December the 24th, and it's about 8:45 at night. And I just finished off doing something that I wanted to show you guys anyway, so I thought I would pop on and, of course, do my update for the day. Yes, it is Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. Merry Santa Day, as I think my friend mentioned. So yeah, so I've had a busy day. I went out with my mom this afternoon. We went to bingo. There was a one session today for Christmas Eve, and no luck. We didn't win, but that's okay. It was still a fun time out. And then I came home, and the husband and I actually went over to the dollar store because we had to get I bought the Christmas gifts, but I failed to buy wrapping or bags. I put my Christmas gifts in bags. I am A, lazy, and B, a horrible wrapper. I see people who wrap these beautiful presents, and that's not me. I put them in pretty gift bags with tissue paper, and I call it good to go. So yeah, so we did that, and then we came home. We had our new tradition. We've been doing it for the past number of years, and we had pizza for dinner tonight for Christmas Eve. And yeah, so tomorrow isn't gonna be it's not a really rush day for us on Christmas. Tomorrow, it's pretty much relaxed around here in the morning, and then around noon we'll go over to my aunt's house, and my niece and nephew, or my brother and sister-in-law, my niece and nephew will be there, along with my mom and dad and my aunt and uncle, and then of course Garrett and I. And so it's very low-key. There's not a lot of us for Christmas. And we will, visit with the kids and stuff like that. And then my brother, sister-in-law, and their kids will go to actually her family's for Christmas dinner. And then it's just 6 of us, me, my husband, my parents, and my aunt and uncle. So very low-key, very quiet. Dinner is generally pretty early, around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and we should be home by like 5 o'clock tomorrow night. So it's not a rush kind of day. There's not a lot going on. Very low-key, very relaxed, which I absolutely prefer. You know, seeing family and stuff like that, that's what's important, right? But like I said, I got some knitting stuff done today. So I wanted to show you guys. Now, typically I show you guys my knitting at the start of these vlogs on Saturdays, but because one of these is being gifted tomorrow and the other one is being worn tomorrow, I wanted to show them to you now. So that's why I wanted to wait until later on today to do this, like, this little update. So the first thing that I finished today, so pleased with this. I'm really happy with, what is this? Oh, that's unfortunate. With the way these turned out. All the ends are woven in and everything, they're ready to go. I finished the mittens for my mom for Christmas. So super pleased with these. The pattern is called Something Wicked. I mentioned this at the start of the vlog. They will be linked in the description box below. And yeah, I am really, really happy with them. I think they look fantastic. And yeah, so we've got a left and a right mitten. And yeah, I'm really happy with them. So I will wrap these up in tissue paper and put them in the pretty little bag that I bought. And we will call them done. So yay on that one. And then the other thing that I finished is for me, but they are, like I said, going to get worn tomorrow, but I did put them on the sock blocker so you guys could see them, is I finished my Christmas socks. Christmas Eve, I finished my Christmas socks. So again, I mentioned these at the beginning of this vlog, so I'm not going to go through it all again, but there's where I was on Saturday, when I recorded that clip on Saturday, and that's how much I got done. And I already had the first sock done, obviously, but yeah, again, the pattern is Atlantic Current. And I am super, super pleased with them. So I have already, excuse me for reaching, I have already balled up a little mini of this yarn. And I did not do the mini from yesterday yet into my blanket. And obviously I haven't done today's yet because I haven't opened it. But my plan is tomorrow is to put all 3 of them in my blanket. Yesterday's, today's, and then this one for tomorrow. This is the Christmas Day one because it came from my Christmas socks from this year. So that's kind of my game plan. So yeah, so those are done. These will be worn with love tomorrow. I haven't even tried them on yet. I'm sure that they fit. My socks don't really change. My gauge doesn't change. I always use the same needles and stuff like that. So, you know, it's pretty. I actually have a feeling these might be a little loose than what I normally have. So we shall see. I am perfectly okay with that. Mine, I am not. I know there's a lot of knitters that they have to fit perfectly. Mine, I'm fine with them being a little loosey-goosey. You know, I'm fine with them being slouchy or anything like that. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, I am super, super happy with them, and I just love them. So yeah, so that's that. So that's the knitting for today. So, on to the reading. Speaking of finishing things, I finished a book today, too. I finished listening to the audiobook I was listening to called Carols and Chaos by Cindy Anstey. This is a YA historical mystery, and it is set in 1817, and it is a housemaid and a valet, I believe. Like a gentleman's servant, I suppose. And the 2 of them get into a mystery where another valet who is a friend. So our 2 main characters, our first characters, our female lead is Kate and our male lead is Matt. And the 2 of them have a beginning of a potential relationship. I talked a little bit about this book yesterday, so I'm not going to get too much into it again. But another one of the valets, a friend of Matt's, has gone missing in town after someone passed him a counterfeit coin. And Kate and Matt are now searching for him. So, you know, the mystery kind of involves around where did Johnny go and who's passing off these counterfeit coins and things like that. But I enjoyed the story. I am only going to give it 3 stars, though, because I think it had a great premise and a great potential. And unfortunately, it just didn't deliver the way I was hoping it would. The story itself was extremely slow to get started. The first half of the book dragged from, not dragged per se. I find with audio it's a little bit easier than if I was reading it in a print book or on an ebook. But the beginning of the story tends to drag a lot. You're getting introduced to a lot of characters. They're kind of setting up the whole premise. And then the second half of the book is where Johnny goes missing, and now they have to find him and find out what nefarious things potentially happened. So it was, the beginning of it was slow, and that was really disappointing to me that, again, it had so much potential. I would love to read more books like with this kind of a premise where it is a YA historical. You don't see that very often. YA tends to really focus on the fantasy or the dystopian or the contemporary. To get a historical is so much fun, and I really enjoy it because the thing is, this is what I was thinking about as I was reading the book, that an 18 or 19-year-old male or female in today's day and age has a very different life than someone did in the early 1800s. A person in the early 1800s were already working full-time. Chances are they were engaged or going to be married very soon. Things moved a lot faster, whereas now that same age group is in university or college, or they're getting their first job, something like that. You're treated more of as an adult in that back then than you were now, because of course there were shorter life expectancies. So would, in reality, I'm just throwing this out there, would those two characters who were 19 years old in that book really be considered YA? Or would they be considered to be adults? Does that make sense? So that's just something I kind of got thinking about as I was reading the book. Because you often, I read a lot of historical romances, and you hear of these girls who are coming into society, who are having their coming out debutante, what have you, and they're just out of the schoolroom, which would make them, 17, 16 years old? And they could potentially be married that year. Yeah, they might in age be a teenager, but were they at that time period considered to be a teenager? Was a teenager even a thing? Was that a phrase? I want to do more research on that to find out. Is that a common terminology that was used? So it's just those things that are like food for thought kind of an idea. So at the end of the day, the mystery itself wasn't bad. I enjoyed that part of the story. I'm just disappointed that it didn't get off to a great start. It had so much potential, and in my opinion, it just didn't deliver. So the other book I'm currently reading right now is Betting on Santa by Deborah Solom. This is a Harlequin special edition novel, and it is about a man by the name of Cole who is believed to be the father of a little boy. Again, I talked about this one yesterday. I've done a bit more reading on it today, and no, you know what? The more I'm reading on this one, and I said this yesterday, I have not read this one before. I'm pretty sure this was just a book on my shelf. I may have at some point years and years ago, because this book has been out for quite some time, but I got rid of my print book edition years ago when I was cleaning a house of all the books that I own because we just did not have the room in this apartment. And I think I maybe read the first chapter and then put it down and didn't end up picking it back up, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a good story. I really like this author. She wrote a couple of the novels for the Love at the Chocolate Shop series. If you guys followed me earlier this year, I was reading through that series. It's a 12-book series, and it's really, really fun. It's a very sweet, no adult content series, but a great romance series. And she wrote a couple of books for that series, and they were very enjoyable. I really like her writing style. I like her character development and things like that. It takes place in Texas, and it takes place at the holidays, and, all the characters have some sort of a background, bad, history that is influencing their lives now. So really, really good, and I'm enjoying it so far. Definitely, I will finish that one tomorrow, and I plan on starting another book tomorrow as well. I only have, for ebooks, I have this one, and I have the one I'm starting tomorrow, which is A Very Merry Princess by Susan Mallory, which is just a novella. Those are the only two Christmas ebooks I have left, like holiday-themed ebooks I have left. All the rest of my audiobooks for the rest of the year, like for the rest of this month, are all holiday-themed still. But for ebooks, the last two that I have to read this month are both NetGalley books, and I've been kind of holding off on them till after the holidays, till after Christmas, because both of them are not non-holiday. One is a thriller and one is a cozy mystery. So I was waiting until after Christmas to start both of them. So I'll be starting those, probably, well, if I start, I'm probably thinking I'll be starting those on Boxing Day, like on the 26th. So yeah. So I'll talk more about those, as the week continues on, because it is only Monday. But anyway, guys, that is it for me. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Christmas Eve and you're enjoying yourselves. Again, very low key for us. We're sitting here. I watched a couple of episodes of CSI. And I'm gonna watch some more booktubes. So it's business as usual here for us, really. You know, we're not. I know a lot of people go out and they go to parties and they do things like that. Garrett and I are not those kind of people. We are super content just relaxing at home, hanging out with each other, hanging out with the cats, you know, watching a few things on TV and stuff like that. And yeah, that's it for us. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Until then, why do I always sound like I'm going to sign off? Talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hi guys, it is Tuesday, December the 25th, and it is about 7:30 at night. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope that you had a fabulous day, whether you celebrate the holiday or not. We had a good day. I'm exhausted. I don't know why. I was just sitting here and I was updating my Goodreads, because I just finished another book. I'll explain that in a second. And I was just like, I was finishing it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go sit on the couch and relax. I'm like, okay, I got to record my little clip for today first, because I was just feeling so tired. And I thought if I wait till a bit later, I might just end up falling asleep. I don't know why I'm so tired. We didn't do anything like extra strenuous today or anything like that. Well, no, I didn't even have turkey for dinner. So I got up, I was up early and I didn't sleep that well last night, so that's probably why. But, I got up this morning and I finished editing the video that is going up on Thursday, which you guys will have already seen. My January TBR, very exciting. And then I, and then I was listening to my audiobook and I was putting some squares into my blanket. I have this on my lap so I can show you guys the ones that I've put in. I put in 3 today because I hadn't done that yesterday or the day before because I was busy trying to finish off my socks. FYI, the socks fit perfectly. The socks and my mom's Christmas present. So that was kind of the big thing there. And then Garrett got up around 10:30, 11. And yeah, he does tend to sleep late. We didn't have gifts to open or anything like that. You know, it's not that big a deal. It's just the two of us. Then we kind of got ready to go. We went over to my aunt's and we were over there from about noon till we got home just after 5. We tend to eat a little bit earlier, like for stuff like this because, you know, my uncle likes to get home and it's my dad's brother and sister. Like when I say my aunt and uncle, it's my dad's brother and sister. So they obviously have separate, or not obviously, but they live in separate homes and stuff. So he comes up. I saw my niece and nephew. I got, my niece hand painted me a picture frame that says "I love you" and it's got sparkly glitter on it. And the actual frame itself, like the frame is like rectangular, but then the cutout for the picture is a heart. And the picture inside is of my niece and nephew, and my niece made that for me for Christmas. So that was super sweet. And my sister-in-law, I don't have it close to me. I wish I did. My sister-in-law, she has a Cricut. Is that what it's called? And it puts the stuff on t-shirts and bags, like you can put your own phrases and saying and pictures and stuff. She's really gotten into doing this and she's doing a lot of them for people. She's selling a bunch of stuff too, but she made me a bag, like just an over your shoulder kind of like a tote bag. And it says in sparkly pink font, "I learned to knit in prison." It's so perfect for my personality. I absolutely love it. I saw the phrase on somebody else's tote bag somewhere. It was at some Knitter's Frolic or something like that. And I went online and I looked it up and I'm just like, I really like it, but it was like pricey and stuff like that. And I just happened to mention it in passing to my sister-in-law because I had taken a picture of it at this festival that I'd seen it at. And my sister-in-law made a comment to me about making it, and then now I got it for Christmas. So that was super duper awesome. So I sort of kind of love it. And I wish I took public transit now because I would totally use it on like the public bus. Could you imagine? That would be brilliant. So yeah, so I got that. And of course we got the couch from my parents and yeah, that's it. Like, we don't need a lot, you guys. I mean, you guys know if you're adults, you know, it's nice to get things, don't get me wrong, but you know, gifts aren't the whole reason, you know what I mean? We had a really nice dinner. They did turkey and ham. I had sausage rolls. I know. My grandmother always used to make sausage rolls and pierogies for Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter. But of course, because she's not with us anymore, my aunt, she decided to make the sausage rolls because it's one thing everybody actually really likes. Like, it seems like a very random thing to have at the holidays, but it's like tradition for us. So she made them, and my grandmother used to make her own pastry, like her own like puff pastry kind of thing. My aunt like bought the phyllo dough and just bought sausages and just did it that way. They were really good, and I brought home a bunch. I'll have those for dinner tomorrow night with some rice or something like that. So anyway, and then my aunt made some pie. She made mincemeat pie because my dad and his brother really like that. So yeah, so all in all, it was a nice day, a nice family gathering. You know, my brother and sister-in-law and niece and nephew didn't stay. They were going to her family's house, so it was very quiet. It was just us adults. And you know, like we were all saying, as much as we love my nephew, he gets into everything. He's a year and a half old, so everything needs to be touched. Everything. So it's constant vigilance when, you know, you're around him. So yeah, it was kind of nice to have a relaxing, you know, like adults only kind of a get together. And yeah, it's, you know, I had a little bit of a shock at first because my grandmother, her favorite color was red. And without fail, every time I saw her, she was wearing a red shirt, but especially at Christmas. And when my husband and I first walked in the door to my aunt's house, as soon as you walk in, you can see straight down to the kitchen, right? So like the counter and the sink and stuff, you can see it right from the front door. And from the back, I saw a woman standing there with the shorter hair and in the red shirt. And my first thought was, oh, of course Grandma's in the kitchen. And then I realized it was actually my aunt. And I said that to her, and we were kind of having a good laugh about it. So that was kind of nice, actually. You know, it made it feel like she was there. I know that the first holiday after, like the first major holiday, I mean, Thanksgiving's a holiday here, but it's not like it is in the States. You know, it's not as big a deal here. The Christmas was always the bigger deal because, you know, everybody kind of got together. So anyway, sorry, I'm rambling, and I didn't mean to be rambling for 7 minutes. But let me, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit this. I'm all over the place today. Let me quickly show you the 3 squares that I put into my blanket. So these are the squares from the 23rd, the 24th, and then I added an extra one for today. I know the advent calendar only ever goes 24 days, but because I finished my Christmas socks, I had to put the Christmas square in. So this is the one right here. This is the CS dye. This is the Toil and Trouble colorway, which I did my Halloween socks out of this year. So that was from the 23rd. This is an unknown yarn, and it is from yesterday, but it's very pretty. And then today, the Christmas socks. So yes, absolutely love that. So that's that. So let me quickly talk to you guys about what I'm reading, because I've actually finished 2 things since the last time I talked to you guys. So thing number 1, or thing the first maybe. I realized last night I was sitting here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was looking at my bingo card and I only need, as of right now, I only need 5 more spots. But I still had 7 to finish as of last night. And I'm looking at it going, okay, I got that book, you know, I'll be reading that book. And I'm like, my classic story. I was going to read the night before, not the night before Christmas. That's the one I read. I was going to read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And it's a shorter book. It's only 80 pages long. And I said this. And I think my original plan had been that I was going to start it on the 1st of December and read like 5 pages a day and finish it, you know, relatively quickly. That didn't happen, obviously. I think at the beginning of the month, I was like off of work and I just thought to myself, oh, I've got lots of time. Because originally I didn't think I was going back until, like for those first few days, I didn't think I was going back to the new year. And then that changed, of course, and I ended up going back to work on the 10th of December. And then I got back to work and it got busy and I was trying to finish my Christmas gifts and it fell to the wayside. I'm so used to having, I've said it before, I'm so used to having my audiobook and my ebook to read that to have a print book, it sometimes throws me off. So I thought, oh geez. So I started looking and I know I have a copy of it on Audible read by Tim Curry, which I really do enjoy. And it's 5 hours long, I think. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not going to have time. I really am not. And A Christmas Carol is one of those books you kind of got to read before the holiday hits. And the fact that yesterday was Christmas Eve, I thought there was no way I was going to get it done in time. Like, even if I had listened to it today, we were busy all day long, kind of an idea, right? And I had another book queued up to go. So, I mean, even at 5.5 hours long, I mean, I listened to it at double speed, 2.5 hours, you know, but still. So I just thought, okay, is there something else that I can read that would be considered to be a classic Christmas story. So, and I had even put in the bingo card that I will allow a children's story. So I was looking and I thought, well, I wonder, maybe I'll read The Grinch. I haven't read The Grinch in years. And I went on Audible and I looked, and it is available. It's 12 minutes long and it's read by Walter Matthau. Is that not awesome? But it was $1.95. And I'm like, I didn't really want to spend $1.95 for 12 minutes of audio when I could very easily pick up the text anywhere and just read it, right? But I just happened to know, not that I had to read it on audio, but I just happened to be on Audible. Don't think I'm that lazy. I try not to be that lazy. But anyway, so then later on in the evening, I was on Instagram and my friend Mandy posted yesterday, because she was kind of doing I fell off the wagon with it. Every day I was posting a different book with my tea and my yarn for the day, and I kind of stopped doing that about 5 or 6 days ago. And but Mandy was still continuing to do it. And the book that she had posted was another audiobook, but it was the poem The Night Before Christmas by Clement Clarke Moore. And it was narrated by, I always say his name wrong. Garrett's, what's his name? I was saying it last night. The guy from Star Trek. George Takei. Sorry, I knew his first name. I couldn't remember his last name. And it was narrated by him, and I'm like, how awesome would that be? So of course I went on Audible. It's no longer available. So it must have been like a holiday download at some point, and Mandy had a copy of it, so I was so bummed. So while I was looking at it, I had typed in the night before Christmas, and a new edition came up that was free. It's legit, you guys. It's 5 minutes long, and it was narrated by Rascal Flatts, which, if you guys didn't know, I am a huge country music fan. And I'm like, I needed to listen to this. So I plopped myself down on the couch last night and I was finishing up my socks. No, was I finishing up? No, it was after I talked to you guys last. So yeah, I was knitting on my shawl. And I, for 5 minutes, I listened to the poem A Night Before Christmas by Clement Clarke Moore. So I counted that as my classic. Hey, it's my, read along thing. I can do what I want. Next year I'll try to be more prepared. But yeah, it was fun. I haven't read that story or that poem in so many years, like so many years. It's got to be a good decade since I read it. And as I was listening to it, I was mouthing along the words because I've read it so many times. It's one of my absolute favorites, honestly. One of my absolute favorites. So anyway, so that I counted. So that's another book that I finished. And it's funny because I don't know if you guys know that on Goodreads, you can go on now and see your year in books. And personal pet peeve for people who do this, please don't think I'm judging you. This is just me personally. And it's not just within the book community. You see this everywhere. Like, people at the beginning of December are posting their top best of the year. You're still got another whole month, you guys. So they're already posting your year in books. But of course, it's changing as you're adding to it. So as of, so the day before, my shortest book of the year was one by Emma Chase, and it was a short story, and it was 36 pages. The Night Before Christmas has now edged it out at 9 pages as my shortest book of the year. So I thought that was quite funny. But anyway, so yeah, if you guys didn't know on Goodreads, it is up on Goodreads. And you can just search it and find it. And you can see your year in books. It's very cool if you've never seen it before. It tells you how many pages you read over how many books. Your shortest book, your longest book, your average page count, your average star rating. The most, of all the books that you read this year, the book that is the most popular and the least popular. It's really kind of fun. I love stats, so I think that thing's a thrill to see it every time. So what I'll do is, I'll try and remember as I'm editing, because when I edit these now, I have a little notepad and I write stuff down so I don't forget to put show notes in. I still call them show notes from when I used to do a knitting podcast, but I'll put them in the notes in the description box below, and I'll link to mine in case you're interested in seeing it for any reason. So yeah. So anyway, again, it will change before the end of the year. So that's the first book that I finished since the last time I talked to you guys. The second one that I've now finished, I just finished, was Red Hot Christmas by Jill Sanders. This is book number 5 in the Pride series. It has been labeled as book 6. Like, when you listen to the audio, it's Tanya Eby who does the narration, who I adore. You guys know that. And she says even that it's book 6. It's book 5 because the first book is actually only a prequel novella. It's a 0.5. And then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm actually caught up in the series to book 5, which is great. Or through book 5, book 6 would be the next one I would be reading. I enjoy this series. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. Oh, I gave The Night Before Christmas 5 stars in case you're curious. Um, I really enjoyed it. 3.5 stars. The one thing about this series, though, that I find funny, these are very light, very not okay. They can get very spicy, so don't think that they're like to the sweet side of the adult content. They can get spicy, but they just seem very mellow, very like small town contemporary romance. Every one that I've read so far has like some sort of backstory that the characters have that are like huge, like stuff that the average person would never deal with, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that people don't deal with these things, but to have all these people to deal with these like bad things, like really bad things, like the main character in the story, her name was Amber. Her father's a terrorist, like an environmental terrorist, but is a terrorist, and he's in prison for killing people. And her mother, like, she testified against him because she actually witnessed him kill somebody, and he didn't know that she'd seen, right? And she testified against him that he killed this person, and ended up going to prison. And then part of the plot of the book was her mother, who she hasn't spoken to in 17 years, is trying to tell her to go to the lawyers and say, you know what, maybe I didn't see that. I was young. Maybe I didn't, maybe he didn't do it. Kind of recanting what she said to try and get her father out on bail, or not on bail, probation, I guess. What's the word I'm looking for? It's driving me crazy. I want to say probation. Doesn't matter. He's in prison. Parole. Thank you. See, this is why I have my associate with me on parole for what he did. And she's like, no, I totally saw what I did. But that's what I mean. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are dealing with a parent who did something horrible, and that person's in, okay, and that's fine. If you had one character in the entire series who was dealing with something like that, but in the last book, I'm pretty sure it was the last book, our main character was involved with a gang in the city who were like killing people, and like the other people were killing people, and she was involved in a drive-by shooting with 5 other people, and she's the only survivor. So again, a horrible incident that happened, but yet now there's 2 people in this small town who have had do you know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems she's blowing up these plot, like, it's not just a very simple, my dad walked out when I was a baby, and I'm, having to deal with that, and he, I never got to see him, the kind of romance. And I'm not making fun of that. Please don't think I'm making fun of that. If that is something that happened to you, that would be horrible. But they just seem to be, I don't know how, maybe you guys understand what I'm saying. Anyway, I do like them. They are a fun series. They are all available on the Audible Romance package. So if you want, check them out. Like I said, they can get hot and spicy, but they are fun little stories. Now, this one is called Red Hot Christmas, but literally only the last 15 or 20 minutes of the book, because I listened to it on audio, of course, takes place at Christmas time. The audiobook itself is less than 5 hours long, so they're relatively short audiobooks too, which is a lot of fun. But anyway, yes, so that's what I finished. My current ebook that I just started today is, I finished, when did I finish? I finished it today, so I finished another book since the last time. Finished 3 books since the last time I talked to you guys. I finished Betting on Santa by Deborah Solom. Book number 2 in the Texas Hold'em series. I talked about this one yesterday and the day before, so I'm not going to get into the whole plot line again. I enjoyed this one. I think I gave it 4 stars, if I remember correctly. Sorry. I updated on Goodreads earlier today. As usual, at the end of this vlog, I will have all the books that I read this week with their star ratings, so you guys can see that. So yeah, so I enjoyed that one. It was, your atypical contemporary romance ending. It was very sweet. I really liked it. 4 stars. She's a great author, and I'm looking forward to picking up the rest of the series. So, my current ebook is A Very Merry Princess by Susan Mallery, book 2.5 in the Happily Inked series. This is a novella. It's only about 100 pages long. I'm going to get it done tomorrow. I finished an ebook and I finished an audiobook, so, I've done a lot of reading for today. I'm going to try and do a bit more tonight before I go to bed, but, no promises. And, because like I said at the beginning of this, I am tired today. And, yeah, this is about a girl who, she's a princess, obviously, but she's not a conventional princess because She's born in California to American parents. She is an American citizen, and her parents split up, and her mother was having a hard time getting a teaching job. So she ended up taking a teaching job teaching English to students in this fictional Middle Eastern country. And so they move there. And of course, the prince of this country falls in love with the mother. And the two of them eventually get married. And then, of course, he becomes king. So now the mother is queen and she is a princess. Pretty sure that's not the way it works. Sorry, we are part of the monarchy, so nothing drove me more crazy when Harry married Meghan and everybody kept saying, "Oh my God, she's going to be a princess." That's not how that works. I'm sorry. Now maybe this country is different. Maybe this fictional country is different. I don't know. It's a little. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not conventional. Let's put it that way. She's, this is definitely a, not your based in reality type of, romance. But so she's this princess in this country. And she is flying back to America with one of her stepfather's horses, his stallions, because the stallion is being sold to somebody who lives in Happily Inc. California. So she's going to go with the horse to make sure the horse gets settled in because she actually works in the stables at the palace. And so she's going to go and make sure the horse is settled in. Of course, there's probably going to be a romance between her and the guy who runs the stables. And yeah, I mean, it's Susan Mallory. It's going to be well written. It's going to be enjoyable. I'm just like, listening to the premise going, yeah, pretty sure that's not how that works. But who am I to argue? Every country is different. This could be perfectly acceptable in this made-up Middle Eastern country. I don't know. So anyway, that's what I'm currently reading, and I will let you guys know my final thoughts on it tomorrow. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go and I'm going to sit and relax. I didn't show you guys my t-shirt. Big, sparkly Christmas tree. I have had this shirt. Hold on. I have had this... Oops, sorry for the... I have had this shirt for like 5 or 6 years. No joke. I only wear it like 2 days a year. I often would wear it to work on Christmas Eve, but I didn't work Christmas Eve this year, so I didn't wear it. I wore my llama sweatshirt instead. And then I usually wear it on Christmas Day. So of course I wore it today. So it's going to go back in the closet for another year. And yeah. But anyway, that is it. I'll let you go and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It is Wednesday, December the 26th, and it is about 10 o'clock at night. It's actually about 10:15 at night because I just got caught off by my phone when I was starting to record the beginning of this. So here I am again, trying again. Today is Boxing Day in Canada. It's a statutory holiday. So no government, post office, anything like that is open. The malls, of course, are open and are busy because there's Boxing Day shopping today. All the deals, all the sales. Garrett and I have never been big on heading off to the mall to do Boxing Day shopping. If we did do it, if we had the extra money, it'd probably be online because that's just the easiest. Why am I going to go fight crowds for a parking spot at the mall for something that I can very easily sit at home and purchase whatever it happens to be on Amazon? So, but it was fun. It was a very relaxing day today. We didn't go out anywhere. We didn't do anything. We just sat in, watched some movies, and I did a bunch of reading and I got some knitting done. And stuff like that. So yeah, so that's about it. I did this whole, like when I first started recording this and then the phone cut me off because of my medication, I think I went off on like a 20-minute talk about Boxing Day. So I'm kind of glad that got cut. So sorry about that, guys. Not a rant, a complaint, but just me doing my usual of talk. So anyway, so yeah, I'm going to work tomorrow, for tomorrow and Friday. And, I did check my work email today because I can check it from my personal laptop here at home, and there were messages. So I'm actually glad I decided to go in because it means that when I go back on the 2nd of January, it won't be as busy. So if I, can kind of get some stuff caught up over the next few days, while I'm at work, then it won't be such a big backlog to get through when I get back on after the new year. So, reading for today. The other thing that I was trying to think about in my last, like when I started recording this before, was whether I told you guys that I finished Red Hot Christmas. And this was by Jill Sanders. It's book 5 in the Pride series. I'm sure I talked about it yesterday. I know I recorded a bit early yesterday, like at 3 o'clock or something like that. but I'm pretty sure I had already finished the book at that point. So if I am wrong and I didn't mention it, the rating will be at the end of this, but I'm not going to get into it again. I suppose I could just cut it out of this, but I'll be honest, guys, when I edit these vlogs, I'm extremely lazy about it. I sit and I put the pictures in, but I don't cut a lot unless I absolutely have to. So anyway, the audiobook that I started today is I'll Be Home for Christmas by Heather Graham. And this is actually a time travel romance, which is a lot of fun. I saw this one available as part of the Audible romance package, and it fit one of the challenges that I was doing, and I thought, oh, this one sounds like a lot of fun. Because it's not her atypical kind of crew of hunters, more ghostly paranormal type things, like the fact that this is a time travel. So it's about this woman by the name of Melody, and she's driving home for Christmas, and to a small town in Massachusetts, and she thinks she hits this guy with her car. So she gets out of the car, and he's like dressed in full Revolutionary War garb. And it turns out that he was being hung as a traitor. And just as like the boards fell out from underneath from this public hanging, he, like it says it in the prologue of the book that, like he's falling and falling, and then it goes into the actual book and it starts with her driving, that he passed through a different dimension, and he came to present day, right? So it's really fun, and I'm really enjoying it because I always love in time travel type stories how, especially from that far of a distant past, from the Revolutionary War, it was 1776. Am I correct in my date assumption on that one? Sorry, I know my American history, but I'm not that great at dates. And that he's experienced, like, he doesn't know what a car is, a cell phone, Christmas lights when he shows up, like, because she takes him back with her, and of course she doesn't believe him that this is who he is, and then slowly it comes out that, like, maybe yes, this is who he is, and he's telling the truth. And the only thing I'm finding a little annoying about this book, and I find this sometimes with some of the Heather Graham books, is that because she's very opinionated, you can tell as an author, as a person, and I am 100% behind her on this. This isn't a criticism of who she is, that she is very, very much for equal rights for everything. Religion, sexuality, gender, the whole 9 yards. But it can come off to be a little preachy in the books. And it's like, it's fine if it's mentioned, like there's a scene where all the characters are having a conversation around the dinner table, and stuff about religion comes up and things like that. And again, I think it's great. But then not very long later, it's like the same discussion comes up again, and then it comes up again. So I don't mind it. I don't mind it being in books at all. I don't mind. It's my stance as well. Everything, like, I don't care what religion you practice. As long as you're not hurting anybody else and you're happy, it's cool with me. And I like to feel that people would think that way of me, or what have you. Whoever you want to love is who you want to love. Again, that's, I'm happy for you. But it's almost like pushed in your face a little bit too much. Does that make sense? So that would be my only criticism at this point in the book. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. This is an older, lesser well-known work of hers, but it's a really fun Christmas story with that great kind of time travel paranormal element to it. And I am really enjoying it so far. I only have a couple hours left on it, so I will definitely get that one done tomorrow. My current ebook is, and I just so I can make sure to get the author's name correct, is called The Spell of Murder by Cleis Simon. This is the first book in a new cozy mystery series. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the cozy mystery series. I will let you guys know that tomorrow when I talk about this, because I'll be talking about it for the next couple days, because it's going to take me a few days to finish. But this is a NetGalley read. This is one that I got off of NetGalley. It's one that I requested. And I'm having a few issues with this book already, guys. I'm about 6 chapters in, which the chapters are relatively short, which I don't mind because I actually do like that in books. But I'm only about 16% of the way through the book so far. And this story is about a woman who is learning to be a witch. And they label themselves, this coven labels themselves as being Wiccan, but they seem very Hollywood stereotype witches. like including to the fact that the male member of the coven is called a warlock. To my knowledge, and I've done a lot of reading on paganism and witchcraft and Wicca, true followers and participants, or I don't want to use the word participants, those who practice the craft would not, as a male, call themselves a warlock. A warlock is actually an oath breaker, and that is not a good person. A male witch is just a witch, same as a female witch. It's not like it's a gender neutral, like a lion and a lioness or something like that. Two totally different random things, I know. Sorry, it's the first thing that popped in my head. So that's thing number one that was kind of bothering me. Thing number two, so it's about this woman who's like, you know, she's joined this coven and whatever. Her name's Becca. But the story itself is told from the perspective of her cats, or her mainly her one cat. And that's fine. I think that's a really neat premise. The problem is that she has 3 cats, and all 3 of the cats have human names. Again, I think that's great. My cats have human names. It's not like they're fluffy and, Sir whines a lot, which is what we call Gord all the time. But, it's not like it's fluffy or something like that, or Sparky. They have human names like Clara and Henrietta, excuse me. My cats are Goran and Bernard, and we had a Logan and a Nicholas. I absolutely like human names on animals. That's just me. But anyway, the problem comes in when you've got 3 cats, plus your main character, plus the 5 coven members. In the first chapter of this book, all of these people are introduced. It was very, very difficult to figure out who was who. And who was, and the fact that it's told from the perspective of the cat. And the cats talk to each other. So when they talk to each other, of course, it's not, it's like in italics in the book, so you know that it's the cat talking. It's rough. Let's put it that way. It's not bad. It's just rough right now. And it was a little confusing. I'm still actually finding it a little bit confusing. Because the other thing is, too, is that the cats don't always go by, like, when they're being described. Because even though it's told from the perspective of the cat, it's not first person. But, like, they keep referring to the one cat as a creamsicle colored cat. Well, just call her by her name. Or the little calico. Her name's Clara. Call her Clara, Like, not only do you have all these names, but now you're getting all these nicknames or descriptors or whatever. And it seems like the author was trying to put a lot in that wasn't required. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So I'm not too sure about what my final thoughts are going to be on this one yet. So far, it's okay. One of the coven members have been killed. That's what the whole cozy mystery part of it is. But, again, it had great potential. And I remember reading the back of the book, and that's why I requested on NetGalley, that it sounded good. Like, it sounded interesting. Not sure I'm loving the execution so much, but we shall see. I will report back a bit more tomorrow. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. I am going to sit down and watch a little bit more BookTube, and then I'm heading to bed soon, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow when I get home from work. All right. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It is Thursday, December the 27th, and it's about 8:45 at night. So I thought I would sit down and, of course, do my little recording for the day. I finished 2 books today, which is exciting. I was at work today. It was busy, and it had moments. We really weren't getting a lot of phone calls, but we had a lot of emails that needed to be answered. Generally, the only reason that customer service is there as a skeleton crew, like skeleton staff, is for emergencies. In case people need parts or anything like that because the system is down, or their pumps. We manufacture water pumps, essentially, and heaters and heat exchangers. And just in case they go down, then, we're there. And shipping is, of course, just at a minimum. But because of the issues we've been having over the last few months, production was in too. So, like, the factory was up and running. Again, not normal hours, just for a short period of time to get some stuff done, catch up a bit and stuff like that. So it wasn't too bad. Got a lot of emails answered, but I had a bit of downtime today too. So I had finished my audiobook. So I'll start with my audiobook. It was called, sorry, that was the oven for my husband. Home in Time for Christmas. I think I was getting the title wrong yesterday, so I do apologize. Home in Time for Christmas by Heather Graham. And this is I want to call it a paranormal romance or fantasy. I'm not sure. It's a time travel romance. Would you list time travel as a paranormal? I'm not sure. But anyway, it was really enjoyable. I kind of gave you guys the premise of it yesterday, and it like I only had a couple hours left on it, so it was really enjoyable, a lot of fun. As I said yesterday, the issues that I had was the constant kind of going on about, uh, and again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but people, all having, no matter their religion or race or anything like that, should all be treated equally. And again, I 100% agree with that statement. But it was just mentioned a lot in the book. And yeah, but I did really enjoy it outside that. I ended up giving it 4 stars. And it is available as part of the Audible romance package. The narrator did a really great job, I feel. So if you're interested, put it on your list maybe for next year. If you like only read the Christmas books in December or what have you. But it's a great, great Christmas story. Of course, it's a romance, so you know how it's going to end. Where they're trying to get him back to his time or and things like that. So it was a predictable ending, but it was still a lot of fun. I mean, it's a Heather Graham. I really do enjoy her stuff. So I listened to it a bit this morning because I was actually editing some of the vlog this morning before I went off to work. And so I was listening to my audiobook. And then I listened to, of course, some more of it on my drive into work. And when I got to the office, I literally had 15 minutes left on the audiobook. So when I got up to my desk and I logged on and I started checking emails and stuff like that, I just plugged in my headphones on my cell phone and just finished listening to it. The problem is with Audible. If I had one complaint about Audible, is that they're web-based applications. So as I think I mentioned in my last vlog, I for Scribd, however you want to say it, and for Overdrive, not Overdrive because I don't use Overdrive, Libby. I use the Libby app, not the Overdrive app for my library. I can pull those up on the web players, and the great thing is I can increase the volume, not increase the volume, increase the speed of the audiobook itself, so I can listen to it at the normal speed that I normally listen to it at. With the Audible web-based interface, like on your PC or whatever it is you're listening to it on, you can't do that, and it's really frustrating. So I don't tend to listen to audio, like my Audible books, on a web base. So I wouldn't listen to them at work. And this was part of the Audible romance package, so obviously I couldn't. I just plugged it in on my phone. And then I actually decided to. So that was Home in Time for Christmas. Again, really enjoyed it. 4 stars. Absolutely recommend it if you like a good kind of more paranormal type romance. And actually, if anyone's curious, this is a clean story. So there is no, I kept waiting for it because, not that Heather Graham is known for that, because I must say the Crew of Hunters books, they do have the occasional scene, but it's not to what some authors are. And now, while hers are almost, when she does include them in books, are almost the closed door scenes where, much like what Kristen Higgins does, and does very well actually, where, you get the lead up and then the bedroom door closes and, cut to the next scene kind of an idea. Heather Graham does almost the same thing. She might take it just a little bit further, but it's still not as graphic as some things that I've read. So, if you're hesitant but you're interested in picking her up, then, and that's what your hesitation is perhaps, this one for sure, I can tell you, does not have any adult content in it. Of course, there's references made, and stuff like that, but nothing happens. So it was, it was kind of nice because what I, appreciated about that is that she stayed true to the characters because Jake, the gentleman from 1776, he would have been raised in a very different time where that's not something that's done. And he did not take liberties. You know what I mean? And, I don't want to give away too much of the plot line, but, no liberties were taken at any point. So, I really appreciated it. And, not that I have a problem with it, but just that they stayed true to the character. And I felt that the story was just as good without anything like that in there. So, yeah, there is a bit of swearing, a very small amount. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. So yeah, so again, really enjoyed it. So then when I finished that, I answered, I was answering emails and stuff as I was listening to the audiobook. Then I had a good chunk of downtime where I was kind of waiting for emails to come in and, if the phone was going to ring or anything at all like that. So I decided to pick up my ebook, which was A Spell for Murder by Clea Simon. I think I said her name wrong yesterday, so I do apologize, but it's Clea Simon. And I ended up finishing this one. Again, if I had a complaint about the Kindle app or Kindle in general, if you guys have one or you use the Kindle app or you have a Kindle device or whatever, when it tells you at the bottom the time, like 5 minutes left in chapter, that is always incorrect. I'm sorry. I don't know how it calculates reading speed, but it is always wrong, because I will be laying in bed at night and look down and go, oh, I've only got 5 more minutes to read, and I'll read at my normal reading speed, and it's been like 7 or 8 minutes. So I mean, I know it's not that big of a deal when you're talking chapter to chapter, but for example, this book said I had like an hour and a half left, and in reality it probably would have been about 2 hours of reading, because of the way that, I don't know, again, I don't know how they calculate it. What I prefer is, I do love reading in the Libby app as well as on the Scribd app, because they actually tell you how many pages left per chapter, which is really good, because it's like how many times you actually press to turn the page is how much longer you have in that chapter. And I think that's a more accurate assessment of time left, because how many of us, it's not just me, I know there are others of you that you'll be laying in bed at night and you'll be like so tired. I'm like, okay, like I want to read one more chapter. How long is that chapter? And you'll look and go, oh, okay, like I just said, like, oh, I've got 5 minutes left of reading. I can stay up for another 5 minutes and read this. Whereas in reality that ends up being 7 or 8 to 10 minutes, right? I mean, again, it's not a huge deal, but it's a deal, because especially when you get into longer chapters, if that chapter tells you it's going to be 20 minutes and it ends up being 35 in reality at your actual reading speed, it's makes a difference. Whereas if you're told I have 10 pages left, I know 10 pages. I know how quickly I can go through 10 pages. So anyway, sorry, small gripe about Kindle. So I was about 30% on the way through it, and it's about a 300 and some odd page book. So I was about a little over 100 pages into it. I will be honest with you guys, full disclosure, I skimmed through the good second half of this book. I did not enjoy it. I ended up rating it 2.5 stars on Goodreads. I'm debating now on dropping my rating down to 2 stars. Like on Goodreads, it'll actually say 2 stars, but I put 2.5 in my review, and I always do that. So I guess I can just leave it because it's listed as 2 stars on Goodreads. And when I rated it on NetGalley, I rated it at 2 stars as well, and then put my quick little review in it. Along with the things I mentioned yesterday, it was pretty much that. I just found the story, I didn't find it that interesting. There were parts of it that I found confusing with the cats. And, not that I have an issue with cats. I am a card-carrying member of the Crazy Cat Lady Society. We have meetings every day. They're at the local pet store. You just come in and squish the kitties. Not squish them, but pet them and love them. I'm a cat lover, an absolute cat lover. You guys know that. I am owned by 2 large black cats. And cats and stories, especially cozy mystery stories, are done well in a lot of cases. And I could sit here and tell you guys some great ones to read. Number 1, read the Cat Who Mystery series by Lillian Jackson Braun, but start yourself at the beginning, because the later books in the series, unfortunately, were not that great. The original ones were fantastic. But anyway, I didn't find that it was done well. And there was one scene, and I think this was the point that I really started skimming, because, no, I actually read this yesterday, so it was later on this afternoon when I started to do that. But I think I forgot to mention this to you guys yesterday. And if I did, I apologize for mentioning it again, but I feel it needs to be mentioned again if I didn't. That when Becca, our main character, like the human main character, when she finds the woman's body and she comes home and she's talking to the cats, and those of us who have animals, cats or dogs, birds, fish, whatever, if we have a pet, you will do that too. I mean, I know I do it. I talk to the cats all the time, and I'll tell them about my day, especially, And so she starts telling the cats about what happened. And of course, the cats in their mind have their own thought process. And she mentions about finding the body, and the one cat comments that it sounded lovely. and I'm reading it going, wait, did I read that wrong? And I went back and reread it and read the little bit. And pretty much now I know cats are, they're animals. You know, if something happens to their source of food, they're going to do what needs to be done. I just recently watched a CSI episode on this. But this cat made a comment about fresh meat with a dead body, and I just found it in very poor taste for this book. Again, we know that if something were to happen, you know, this is the situation, but I just do not feel that that needed to be brought up in a book where the cats are the main characters. I found it a little disturbing, to be honest. And I actually noted that in my review, that I found that to be disturbing. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to like this one. I really did. This is, I typically say, okay, you know, maybe I'll try another one. But I don't know. If I see the second book ever come up on NetGalley, I might request it and just give it another shot. But yeah, if you're a fan of cozy mysteries, I don't think that you would like this one. I looked afterward on the ratings on Goodreads, and I wasn't the only one. There was a lot. This does not have very high ratings on Goodreads. A lot of people kind of were thinking the same thing that I was, so that's unfortunate. So on to what I am currently reading. Because I finished that ebook, I was like, I'm done with e-reading for today. I will pick up a new book tomorrow. But I actually finished this one early. I do set myself goals of how much I want to read every day. And because I did skim through a good chunk of this, I finished this a day early. So I'm starting my next book a day early, which is great. And but I'll talk about that one tomorrow because I haven't actually started it yet. But the audiobook that I'm currently reading is A Marine for Christmas by Candace Havrans. I'm sorry, I'm potentially saying her name wrong. They said it, of course, when I was listening to it on Audible. It's narrated by a guy, which is, it's, I always find that with these because it's a Blaze novel, and these are very spicy and very adult. I always find it a little interesting listening to a gentleman narrate these kind of books. And, but because it's mostly told from the Marine's perspective. His name is Ben. And so it works. Like, I understand the reason why the audio producers decided to go in that direction. And he sounds very much like that kind of very tough Marine. Unfortunately, his female voices leave a little to be desired, but c'est la vie. This is part of the Audible Romance package again. This is actually a two-in-one on the Audible Romance package. So you get this book and one by Tiffany Rice. Her Hot Christmas or something. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. I'll pop a picture of it up here if I remember to do that in editing. I'm sure I will, because I'm just saying it now. So Sarah, put a picture of it up in editing. And I read that one, the Tiffany Rice one, and it was really good. So yeah, this one I'm enjoying. It's about a Marine and a woman who is a professional shopper, and that's her job. And someone used it for the book bingo, for the holiday book bingo, for I think the square of a gift, like giving a gift, because she's a professional shopper, so she buys gifts for people, which absolutely works for me. I am using it for the category of Santa on the cover because he's wearing a Santa hat. So, multiple different spots you could fit into the book bingo. And yeah, it's really cute. So she's a professional shopper. They meet by chance and, end up kind of coming in and out of each other's life over the next little while. Like, they keep meeting up and she's helping him with something. And they end up, of course, having a relationship. So that's where I am now. I'd say I'm probably about 30% of the way through this one, and I'm really enjoying it. I will finish it tomorrow for sure. And yeah, I'm liking it quite a bit. So anyway, guys, that is it for me. It's like I said, it's core night. I haven't had dinner yet. We went for lunch around 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I had a big lunch. I generally don't have a big lunch, but me and my coworker for the U.S. side of the business, customer service, were in. And then on the Canadian side, they had 3 people in. So, including their manager, and he's fairly new. So I guess this is a great time for him to kind of be learning some of the business too. Well, it's a little bit quieter. So he actually took us all out for lunch, which was super nice of him. So that was kind of great. And so yeah, but anyway, so I think I'm just gonna have a bowl of cereal tonight. I've got a bit more knitting to do. I want to watch some more BookTube, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It is Friday, December the 28th, and it's about 11:15 at night. I almost said it was November. That's odd. Anyway, coming to you with a quick update, plus something a little bit exciting after I talk about the books today. and that's a couple unwrappings, so I'll get to that in just a minute. But first of all, let me tell you about what I've been reading today. I finished another book today. Yay. Christmas with the Marine by Candace Havrens. I listened to this on audio. I apologize, I cannot remember the name of the narrator right now. It's a gentleman, and I will, of course, I'll mention that in my wrap-up, my December end of the month wrap-up. And I enjoyed it. It was a really cute story. I'm going to give it 4 stars. So I talked a little bit about it yesterday. It's about of course, a Marine and a woman. His name is Ben and her name is Aislinn. And the two of them meet by chance at a toy store. She is a professional shopper. That's her job. And he lost a bet, essentially, but a good bet in a way. And he's the one responsible for picking up all the toys for the Marines Toys for Tots program. So the two of them, of course, meet and enter each other's lives. And, of course, some sexy times ensue. A very spicy book. This is a Blaze novel, so you do know that these are going to be spicy. And she comes from a very well-to-do family. He comes from a lower-class family, grew up with just his mom, and he kind of takes care of his mom and his younger sister. And, your atypical romance novel, but it was really enjoyable. It took place at the holidays in, I think it's Corpus Christi, Texas. So, a different, this would have also worked, because I mentioned yesterday, I was using it for the holiday book bingo for Santa on the cover because he's wearing a Santa hat. Another person doing the book bingo used the same book as for a gift because she buys gifts for a living. She's a professional shopper. And now that I'm reading it, it could also be used for Christmas in a Warm Climate because it takes place in Texas. So, yeah, so there are many different ways that this could have been used in the holiday book bingo. But anyway, like I said, atypical romance novel, there's of course a misunderstanding, and her father keeps trying to set her up with all of these guys that he thinks is going to be good for her, lawyers and doctors and stuff, and he doesn't think like some Marine is good enough for her. And yeah, it was a really cute story. Again, very, very spicy, but really enjoyable, and I liked it. So the other book that I did some reading on today, I did not get enough reading on this one done today. I wanted to read some more on it, is Watching You by Lisa Jewell. This is a NetGalley book, and it is a thriller. And it starts off with the murder, essentially, with the police officer in this home with the body, and then it kind of goes, I guess, back in time. And there's a lot of characters. This takes place in the UK, and in I think it's in London, but don't quote me. And Bristol, I believe. I'm sorry, my geography of the UK is horrible. But in this one little section of town that has all these painted kind of row houses, and the ins and outs of the different neighbors. So you've got your main character, Joey. I think she's pretty much the main character. And her new husband are living with her brother. And she's kind of got, a crappy kind of, I shouldn't say crappy, but, a lower paying job at not the greatest place. It's a place that does kids' parties. So, you're dealing with little kids and things like that, and parties and them getting sick and, food spillage and stuff like that. So she's just trying to make ends meet. And then her new husband, they met on a beach when they were both working at a resort. And they decided to get married. And now that they're back in England, that whole holiday, not holiday, because they weren't on holiday, they were working, but that whole, the person that you thought they were living in this very, like in this paradise essentially, working is not the same person once he gets home back to England. So they're kind of dealing with their thing. There's a family down the block that they have a son who wants to be in the M15, which I guess is like a Secret Service kind of an idea. So he spends his day spying on the neighbors. And there is, his father is the headmaster at this school, this academy. And I guess, he's kind of got one of the not young girls, I shouldn't say young. She's a teenager. She's kind of got a crush on him. And Joey kind of has a thing for him. And, there seems to be a lot going on now. The one thing I've noticed is this book has a lot of chapters and they're very short. So that's kind of great. It's like almost like potato chip reading, where it's like, okay, I'll just read one more chapter. I'll just read one more chapter. And yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. Not a lot is actually happening. you're kind of getting the ins and outs of this little neighborhood. I'm only about 15 or 20% of the way through it. I wanted to get more read on it today, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. I'll be honest, I was sitting here knitting this afternoon, and then I got into a chat with my friends tonight, so I was doing that for about the past 4 hours. So I plan on getting a lot of reading done tomorrow. We don't have a lot to do other than go grocery shopping, so... And that is the last ebook I need to read before the end of the year. So I do have lots of time still. So I still have 3 whole days. And it's only a 300 and some odd page book. So it should be no problem for me to get it finished. And I've started my next audiobook, but I'm only about 10 minutes into it. I started listening to it when I was going to pick up dinner for my husband and I. And that is The Keeper's Christmas in Salem. And it's by Heather Graham, Deborah LeBlanc, I believe, and Kathleen Pickering. Don't quote me. The picture will be up here. So you'll be able to see the author's names on it. But this is a nocturne, so a paranormal romance, but a holiday-themed paranormal romance. So like I said, I'm only about 10% or 10 minutes into that one, so not very far at all. And then after that, I've only got one more audiobook to finish all my challenges for the month of December and for the holiday book bingo, so that's super exciting. So anyway, that's my reading. And as promised, we are going to have a couple unwrappings. So... if you guys watched my video a few weeks ago, I'm not going to talk about this all the time, I promise, but I will leave a link to it in the description box below, and that's my 40 Years of Harlequin project. And essentially what that is, in 2019, I'm going to be reading 1 book a week from the Harlequin imprints. 1 a week, but 1 published each year. So starting the year I was born in 79 and leading up to 2018, and then including books published in 2019. Again, I'm not going to get into the whole thing about it. If you want more information and you haven't seen the video, please click the link below. So I was debating on when, because I want to unwrap these on camera for you guys. That's kind of part of the fun. Because I did wrap them all, excuse me for reaching over. I did wrap them all in brown paper bags, and I put the year on the front, so 1979. And I'm going to be opening one of these every week, and then I will be reading it that week. Now, I will not be reading this book until I will be starting this book on the 1st of January, which is this coming Tuesday. So it'll be for my next vlog. And I thought to myself, I was originally going to open this tomorrow morning on the first day of my next vlog. But that vlog wouldn't actually go up until, like, January... Well, I think the 1st is on, what, Tuesday? So Wednesday, Thursday, so like the 6th? So I'd be almost finished this already by the time that you guys saw the opening. And I know that some people had mentioned that if they could potentially read the same books that I am, that they wanted to kind of follow along in a way. So this way, I'm going to show you guys the book now ahead of time. Then I'll start reading it, and I'll be reading it through my next vlog. And then every Friday now at the end of the vlog, essentially the last little clip of the vlog, I will open another one of these. And... I've been debating on it, but I think what I might do is in the, I call it the Create Your Own Readathon group on Goodreads, but it's my group on Goodreads where I have the Create Your Own Readathon, the book bingos, and the Stacking the Series, and all the other challenges I'm doing this year. I think I'm going to open a separate thread, and I'm going to call it the 40 Years of Harlequin Project, and I will post the book there. So in case you, before watching the vlog, you just want to go and check and see what it is, you absolutely can. Now, I don't know all the books. That's the thing, is that I had a list of these, but as I got the books and wrapped them, I deleted the book name off my list. So I wouldn't know, you know, so this would be a surprise to me in a way as well. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go into the whole long explanation. But yeah, so we're going to open this up right now. So let's go ahead and do that. So, sorry for the noise. They're so easy to open when you do it this way. You just tape it and away you go. So, oh yes, okay, so... this book, I made sure to get one that was not only published in 79, but one that was published in March of 79, which is the month and year I was born. So this is Witchwood by Mary Wibberley, Harlequin Romance number 2245. And yeah, can we talk about that 1970s cover? Kind of Farrah Fawcett-esque hair and the makeup and, you know, dude in the turtleneck. Awesome. So, I will read the back of it for you guys. She had been elated to discover that she had a grandfather still living. Naturally, she wanted to meet him as soon as possible. Unfortunately, she happened to meet Ryan Drago first, a longtime friend of her grandfather's. Aware of the old man's precarious health, he was suspicious of Beth's motives. Then his suggestion left Beth speechless. There's one way you could go and be accepted and not upset him. You could go with me as my wife. Ooh, I mean, that's like a theme still now in romance novels. That's part of the reason I'm doing this, is because I'm really interested to see how much romance novels have changed. And I mean, that whole marriage of convenience, you know, to get my family to accept me or to accept you, to show up with a fiance or be married. I mean, that's a common element still in romance novels today. So this should be great. So again, I'll be starting this on Tuesday. Ooh, very tiny print, you guys. But it's not a terribly long book. It comes in at 187 pages. So that should be relatively easy to get through. So I'm very interested and excited to read this one. Yay. Original cover price of 95 cents. So yes. Does it say it in here? Excuse me. Original hardcover edition published in 1978 by Mills and Boon Limited. Harlequin edition published in March of 1979. So these were published obviously in the UK by Mills and Boon first, and then published by Harlequin in the US and Canada. So yes, so there's our first unwrapping. Second unwrapping. If you guys have been following along on my vlogs, you know that I'm always typically knitting on socks. I love to knit on socks, and I finished my Christmas socks in this vlog on Monday, on Christmas Eve. And I was not going to be casting, as I said then, I'm not casting on any more socks until New Year's Eve, which is this coming Monday night. So I need a new pair of socks to knit on. So I haven't done this in a number of months, but I have this bag. It's a big Alice in Wonderland bag that my friends bought me last year. And inside of it are 12, I do love using brown bags for wrapping. I have 12 skeins or balls of sock yarn, one in each bag, and each bag is numbered. So essentially I put this bag together a couple months ago, so I can't remember what's in here. So this is kind of like a sock club in a way. You know, you can subscribe to like book boxes or yarn boxes or whatever it is, where you get new yarn in the mail or books in the mail every month. This is kind of the same thing, where but it's from my own stash. So I just pretty much am going to pick a bag every month or whenever I finish a pair of socks to have another pair of socks to cast on, because I always love knitting on socks. I have 30 pairs, but I am more than happy to have 100 pairs. I would love that. So let me go to my randomizer, because I was just going to reach in and grab one, but I thought, you know, I can kind of feel which ones are already balled up and stuff like that. So I thought I would actually do a random number generator. Now, there are actually potentially 14 numbers in there, but there's only 12 bags. I've already pulled 2 bags out, bag number 6 and bag number 13. So if I get either of those in my results, I will obviously pick another one. So we'll go to the max of 14 and we'll go get random. And because this is a free downloaded app, it makes me watch a little ad first. Sorry, you guys. Number 5. Let's find number 5. Oh, I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to this all day long. So let's reach into the bag here. Oh, and number 5 was the one that I had pulled out and showed you guys. So that's easy. It was right on top. How convenient. So bag number 5. It's not balled up. It is in a skein, so I'm going to have to ball it up before I can knit on it. I'm very excited to see what it's going to be. It feels soft and squishy. Ooh. Tell me that's not a great color for the winter. That should keep the winter blues away, shouldn't it? Oh, wow. So this was dyed by my friend at Truly Wicked Crafts. She actually has a podcast. It's not a knitting podcast. It's actually a cross stitch, like floss tube, I believe they call it. I subscribe to her, so I will leave a link to it in the description box below. For any of you who are cross stitchers, you can go and watch her. And the colorway is called Gobstopper. So I don't know if I want to knit these as a pattern. I might do Hermione's Everyday Socks again, because that's one of my go-to fairly straightforward knitting patterns. Or sock patterns, I should say. But yeah, so there's the sock that we're casting on for January. So I will do that this weekend, and you guys will probably see it in my next vlog. So yeah, so anyway, so there's all the unwrappings. So that's it for this clip, you guys. That's it for this vlog. Videos coming up next week. Excuse me. I'm not doing any filming this weekend, because the videos that I want to do, I need to kind of wait on them. So on January the 1st, I will be filming my 2018 year in review. And essentially what I'm doing for my year in review is I am using the stats that I've been using all year, each month to month, but I'm going to give you guys the stats for the whole year. So like everything kind of cataloged together and giving you all the 1-star, like not each individual book, because as of right now I've read 295 books this year. But I will be giving you like my overall page count, the number of 5-star books that I had, the number of 4-star books that I had, you know, like the actual number, like all the stats that you guys would normally see on my month end videos. But I'll be doing them all like for the whole year. And then I am going to list out all the books that I rated 5 stars this year. And yeah, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And then my other video, because on the 2nd of January, which is Wednesday, but the video is going to go up on Thursday. The 2nd of January is actually my 3-year booktube anniversary, so that's super exciting. So I was trying to think of some way to kind of commemorate it, and I saw recently, I think it was Amy over at Zoe Beck, did the 25 bookish facts about me, and I don't think I've ever done that before, and if I did, it was a long time ago, and I have so many new subscribers lately, so I thought I would do that kind of a little celebration of my 3-year booktube anniversary. So that will be going up next Thursday. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. Anyway, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys all in my next video. Until then, take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.